Alrighty, what is up, everybody? Devi2100 here, and so I'm finally doing the first impressions video and kind of the unboxing video for the MacBook Air. So in this video, you're actually gonna see, when we actually got it in, the unboxing from the actual shipment box to us actually pulling the MacBook Air out of the Apple box right here, and we are using actually the Logitech camera I normally would be using to stream on instead of using the iPhone, which I do believe I have sitting somewhere around. Thought I had it right behind the oh, that's right, I have it up here instead. I need to throw it on the charger. But instead of using the continuity camera, which I would normally be using through the MacBook right now, I've been using actually the Logitech camera just because I have had issues with the internet lately, because it does need the internet to keep that camera going so that it absolutely keeps the best quality image going, but they are upgrading the internet in the areas, so it will sometimes just drop randomly like that. So it's the only big reason why we haven't been using the continuity camera from the iPhone. Otherwise, that's absolutely what I love using, because I think the camera looks just absolutely amazing from it. But this is actually looking really good even at 1080p, 30 frames a second, not the 60 frames a second that I would normally like it to be. However, though, the videos themselves can be 1080p, 60 frames a second, which is absolutely amazing. And literally running all this from, iMovie, like editing, everything like that, has been absolutely fantastic. The, actual, busting into this bad boy from day one, being a person who's used, predominantly, PC my entire life. It is really different to switch over to Mac. Not entirely crazy. I'll be covering more of that in the other video I'll be doing later on. But the main thing I want to get in on this is the actual kind of like I said, like the first impressions that I've had for it. The typing so far on the keyboard has been absolutely amazing. The trackpad that I've been constantly told nothing but absolute amazing things about it, being one of the best trackpads in the entire industry. It lives up to that. The ability just to open up every app that I want at whim, and it just does it. The apps that are, actually optimized for Mac, not only to run really well, but they actually exceed my expectation of how well do they actually manage to not drain the battery while also getting the job done. That's the other big thing too, is being able to have the power of the laptop not change, whether it be plugged in or unplugged. You know, for the with the power cord, it just doesn't lose or change when it comes to that level of power that it has to give you, is absolutely amazing, and I really do love that. And as you can see in some of the videos that are being shown to you, you'll see, from the unboxing, you'll see to the us, showcasing it at work and showing it just, all over the place, around town as well, and just how easy it is to actually utilize it so far. One of the big things I think that's been really cool is, like, if I'm getting a ride to work a lot of the times, when I've been working on these scripts for the videos, I've been able to just to sit there and type them up super easy. The laptop fits just perfectly on the lap. It's so light. I mean, it's lighter than the box that it came in, actually, which is crazy. It just absolutely blows my mind with how amazing so far the Mac has been. It's been so, great so far, to the point that legitimately I have actually kind of found it in my heart that I wanted to sell my desktop now, get the M4, and then down the road potentially buy the Mac Studio, so that we can have it for when Cyberpunk finally gets ported to Mac OS. Because right now the only real way to play that is either Steam Link, or you have to have Parallels or something like that running in the background, so that you have an emulation of Windows, and then you can play it. But especially with using like the base model here, or even in the M4 that I plan to try to get, it's just not going to have enough of that power to, especially even if I was to emulate it, to play that. So that's why I was like, you know what, we'll go with the Studio down the road. That'll be the main actual gaming unit, along with all the other, extra stuff that it can do, whether it be rendering videos or, just doing all kinds of stuff like that, making music, especially with the package deal that I have with that one. I want to try to get, the Logic Pro and Final Cut Pro all together with that. Plus, it has a bunch of other extra add-ons that'll make all of that even better, especially like making my own music for the stream, so we can actually have our own beats and everything like that. And it just make it a fun experience. And so far, literally, even making these videos, right? Like, yes, I'm shooting this in OBS right now, But then I'm gonna port that video to iMovie and chop it all up and edit it and everything like that. It's just been crazy to see how not only just effectively easy is it to do all this stuff, but also just how fun it has been to do everything. I mean, like, let me pull up the uh oh, that is the capture from there earlier. So yeah, as you guys can see right here, we got the timeline going right here from the video that you guys are watching right now. This is all the stuff that you can see. We got all of it put right here from the actual clips that we've used. Now the other projects I've done, I did a video for the vape shop where we did like a little commercial for it. And what I did with that one I thought was actually really kind of cool was I was able to actually, do a voiceover for the video while doing the video itself. Now the only problem was I had accidentally screwed my script up and made the script just a little bit too short from cutting it up and stuff like that. As you can see, it ended just before the video had ended. But still, the fact is I haven't done something like this in a really long time, and nor had I ever actually really had enjoyment for doing something like that for editing. And now here we are sitting, in 2025, midway through April, and finally getting this MacBook, and I'm like, man, I actually enjoy doing editing now. It's actually fun. I actually am like, dude, when can I do the next video project? I'm constantly actually scripting videos now, which I normally don't ever script any video. I've actually read this script enough times that I have it pretty built into the head. So what I was just doing before I did this video was like, you know what, I want to make sure that I have read it enough times that I got it ingrained in my head that I know exactly what I want to say, where I want to put this, everything like that. And again, the big part of this is that I want, this video to really showcase, not just, the actual prowess of the, MacBook Pro, or not MacBook, I wish it was, the MacBook Air M1 base model, but to also really show that you can definitely, switch from PC to Mac and have an amazing experience like I have. And the big thing that I really have learned from all this is just that how easy it is to use Mac, right? My first impressions when I first, opened the box, got into it, everything like that, I was really nervous, right? I was like, how is installing apps really going to feel? How is running a lot of the apps that I normally run gonna feel on a Mac? And legitimately, it took me one whole day to learn the concept of when you go to install it, and any type of application that's from the internet. Because if it's not from the App Store, it just doesn't automatically directly install right to applications. What you have to do is you get what's called a DMG file. It'll show up a little window, and it'll show the file here, and it'll say applications. You just drag it over to that, boom, it puts it in applications. I was actually opening up the applications window and dragging it all the way over to there. And at first, I wasn't getting used to how to like drag things because I'm so used to shitty trackpads that I just was like, oh man, how do I drag all this stuff without it being such a pain in the ass? And now I'm like, dude, I literally was about to order a mouse for this. I was even trying to use my Razer Naga, okay, on this. This, for whatever reason, was running a little slow and kind of sluggish. It was kind of funny because it was like, man, I actually feel like my trackpad's a little better. And I was literally streaming Cyberpunk from my desktop to my MacBook, and I started using the trackpad to aim. And I was like, you know what, just for shits and giggles, can we do this at the same way we move? Yes, I have never had a trackpad. You can let me know down in the comments below, especially whether it be on YouTube or Rumble, wherever this video is at. Let me know in the comments below if you've played on a laptop that allowed you to utilize the trackpad and the WASD keys at the same exact time. The only one I think that maybe could do that would maybe be a Razer Blade, but why the hell would you want to do that? That thing is going to get so hot, you're going to give yourself third-degree burns. You pretty much have to have an external keyboard and mouse, or even a controller in order to play on a Razer Blade because of just how hot it gets. And I'm not trying to trash them or anything like that. I've owned a Razer Blade myself, and I loved it for a while there, but what do they tout themselves as? The Apple of the PC world. That's what they tout themselves as. But the problem is that Razer, you really are not that level of at the engineering that Apple is at. Legitimately, there's a reason why I can buy something like this. It's as thin as it is, and it fucking works. It's actually not just amazing at what it's doing, but it's performing it well. These videos that I've been able to render and put up into fucking, Facebook or YouTube, Rumble, wherever, they're rendered and exported like that. It blows my mind. Yeah, I'm not doing 4K videos like I see everybody else do, and I'm gonna get into that in my next video as well. like kind of how dumb I think that is, that you see every reviewer that's doing these videos is like, hey guys, I just don't know how to handle with 4K and rendering and editing. It's like, okay, fun fact, real world experience, by the way. Not everybody's fucking doing that. Not everybody just renders, in 4K and uploads in 4K. Most people can't even watch in 4K. Keep that in mind, right? So a lot of that kind of, hitting me in the head, like, why is this constantly being pushed? Yes, I get, people want to know if it can. Sure, just mention it. But why is that a focal point? It seems to be a really big focal point of a lot of content creators. And then you see like people say real world experiences, and they might give you one or two actual real world experiences. So let me give you a little rundown again in this little review here right now. My real world experience has been to, when I wake up in the morning, I'll run a little YouTube. I usually have this charging overnight, usually, so that way I can go for as long as possible without, using the charger. In the morning, what I'll do is I turn the brightness off my keyboard and lower the brightness down on the actual display. And I usually run the volume at about around like anywhere between 60 to 75%, just because I like to have it a little bit louder. So especially when I'm walking around the vape store, I can actually hear it wherever I'm at. But here's the thing, though. When I do that, especially when I lower the brightness down and everything like that, turn off the brightness on the keyboards completely, that 100% stays there for at least a good solid hour. And then I might lose 1%. And it's like a percent every hour. And that's insane. I'm watching YouTube. I'm writing scripts at the same time. A lot of times also when I'm doing that, I might be looking up stuff on the Apple Store, or I might be looking at other things like that that can maybe help out the vape store at the same time. There's all kinds of things I might be doing at the beginning. It's usually, though, primarily just watching YouTube, though, checking emails and a few other things like that. Then once I'm at, work, once I finally got done getting ready, now mind you, if I'm getting a ride, I will be typing my script up the entire time I'm going there. If I'm walking to work and stuff like that, a lot of times what I will do is if I leave early enough, I'll sit down on the bench somewhere and I'll type up for a little minute, just kind of enjoy the beautiful weather and everything like that. And just be like, it's so nice to be able to take my laptop and have battery life. Not be like, oh man, as soon as I bust this out, is it already going to be dead, or is it going to die the minute I start typing on this thing? Literally, I had an Alienware, two Alienwares actually, that would never handle just going out and about and doing anything. Even the last ROG that we had, it was been left on the charger for so long that the moment that you try to use it off the charger, yeah, it just dies. It would just dead instantly, right? My Razer Blade, which is supposed to again be the Apple of the PC world, yeah, you could only get maybe 3 hours at best, even with lights off. But that's not worth it. That, like, especially if you go on like a fucking a trip or anything like that, you better hope that you have your charger, that can plug into something like that. Oh, sorry, it's an outlet AC only charger though. Whereas this MacBook, even with MagSafe, it goes from MagSafe to USB-C. Or in this case, you could still, I mean, even with the MagSafe ones, you could still charge them with Thunderbolt. But in this case, I just use my USB-C charger, that hey, if I'm in a car and I have one of those little things that literally is USB-C in the, cigarette lighter or phone charger area that you have, whatever it is, in your car. Well, guess what? You can plug that in, and you can draw it from the battery of the car, and you can actually charge your laptop. Whereas, if you don't have a special charger for your Razer Blade or your fucking Alienware, you're kind of shit out of luck. Unless you get to an actual AC outlet. Yes, I know there's certain cars, like there was like the Dodge Sprinter, I remember this having it in there, but it actually has a built-in AC, like little like dock port in the middle center console where you can actually plug in about 4 or 5 AC adapters into it, but that really drains from the battery of the Sprinter. So is it really worth that though? No. So again, you have to really weigh the options of, is it worth it? And would I be actually able to enjoy taking this with me, right? In this case, like with this, I totally can. With the Alienware, it was like, yeah, I could take it with me, but enjoy it when I got to wherever I was going. On the trip itself, yeah, maybe, but not likely. Even when I was on the plane ride, going from, literally Pullman to Seattle once, I took the Razer Blade and the Alienware, and I actually was using the Razer Blade only because it, like I said, lasted for 3 hours. But when I pulled it out, it was already been like an hour when I was using it at the fucking airport, so I barely had an hour left of use when I got on the plane. Yeah, it died before we landed. Like, that's insane. I was like, well, I guess that happens, right? Well, the problem is that legitimately, even if you're turning off the lights, you're turning off all the, all the bells and whistles that are on the Razer Blade, it's just such a fucking power-hungry beast because of the Intel chip that it does not stay on. So the fact that Apple finally went to the Apple Silicon chip themselves and made the M1, it's blown me away. Truly, it has. And honestly, I think if you're on the fence between buying one right now and maybe even thinking about doing it down the road, I honestly recommend picking up one right now. It's 100% worth it, chat. Like literally. Let me know down in the comments section below too whether or not you're going to end up picking up a MacBook at all, whether it be the M1, M2, M3, or M4, or if you're waiting for the M5 to drop out, which I've heard, leaks that it's going to be coming out pretty soon. So whether that be the case, and if you are, hey, if you don't really want to spend the money maybe that what the M5 might be, because I know people are all out there being like, oh, the tariffs, the tariffs. But listen, I'm honestly going to be honest with you. I really don't see the tariffs hurting Apple in any way. With the literally we're one of the biggest companies that put money into the country. To honestly, they've also changed where all their manufacturing is at. It's not in China. For those that don't know, it is actually in Vietnam right now. So they may even change again. Who knows? I think it really just goes to show you that their biggest thing that they should be doing, bring those factories here to America. We would love to make Apple's phones, MacBooks, things like that. Especially think about it, you work in those factories. A lot of times, like I know people that work in Procter and Gamble and stuff like that. Guess what? They get discounts on the colognes, which is Gucci, Hugo Boss, all that kind of stuff like that. If not for free. Imagine you work at an Apple factory and literally you get such a discount on a MacBook all the time that you could just keep buying a new one every year that they drop. That's the type of level of like actual, badassery that we could have if they could bring their factories here in America. I honestly truly see that happening, especially under the type of administration we have going on right now. That could really foreseeable happen in the future. If they keep getting pushed to be, from like country to country to country, eventually they're going to just say, wait, what if we just move it, make it to America? And Trump just goes, yeah, by the way, yeah, now I'm going to remove all those tariffs from you. You don't have to pay, anything like that. You're just going to be able to make your products here in America and sell them for whatever price you think you see fit. And then they go, well, what if we start selling them for way cheaper and we get that many more people able to actually get into that entry level of a MacBook Air or an iPhone, whether it be the regular iPhone 16, 17, whatever's going to be coming out, right? In my case, 16 plus, or they go and get the 16 Pro Max, right? But if you lower the prices on all of those things across the board because your factories are here in America, it's common sense. It's just going to be cheaper and better. That's just how it's going to be. So I definitely believe in that. But let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. I'd love to see the conversation we can get started from all this. And I will see you all in the next one, fam. Peace.